All right, welcome everyone. Tonight for our homesteading series, we are going to cover opportunities for farmers markets in West Virginia, which is one of my very favorite topics. This night will be recorded and this will be shared on our YouTube channel. Tonight, I'm going to go over some basic services of the West Virginia Department of Agriculture's Business Development Division. Then our first guest will be Erica Gallimore with the West Virginia Farmers Market Association. She is the project coordinator. Following that, Stacy Stort from the WVDA will be joining us and talking about some of the regulatory rules and inspections at farmers markets. And she is the State Farmers Market Program Coordinator. After each presenter, I will stop and see if there's any questions, and then we'll wrap up with questions again at the end. So the first thing I want to talk about is our West Virginia Grown program. This is the premier branding program in West Virginia, and this is free to West Virginia producers. By being a member of our program, you can use the West Virginia Grown logo on your products and marketing. This also gets you in a print catalog, and you can see a sample there on the screen. You get some beautiful pictures in our catalog each year. You're also included in the market bulletin and our e-news. This is a really, really great way to set your product apart from others. We also have our Veterans and Heroes to Agricultural program. Dane Gaiser is on the phone with us right now. He is our program coordinator. There's a lot of exciting things going on with the Veteran and Heroes program. Starting on May 20th and running through July 29th, they're starting a program on herbalism from soil health to human health. There are scholarship opportunities, educational opportunities, networking, and mentorship. So if you're interested and want to learn more about it, there's some contact information here on the screen. And I'm sure Dane would be happy to tell you all about Veterans and Heroes to Agriculture. And then I'm Kacey Gantzer. I'm a planning coordinator. There are 4 planning coordinators in the state, and our job is to help producers sell their products, production plan, marketing, West Virginia Grown, connect you to other resources. We have Ashley, Nathan, Lacey, and myself. You'll notice there in the middle, in the blue area, no one officially covers that area, but don't worry. If you're in one of those counties, we have you covered. We basically split up by our subject areas that we do the best in, and we all work together to make sure producers are connected throughout the state. And I want to get a little plug right now for our next series. On May 4th, we're going to be talking with some producers in McDowell County and producers in Wheeling at Grow Ohio Valley, and we're going to be covering community and youth gardening. So without further ado, I'm going to stop sharing my screen and I'm going to hand it off.
Hi everybody, I'm Erica Gallimore. I am the project coordinator for the West Virginia Farmers Market Association, and I'm going to be talking about the association and what we have to offer for farmers markets and producers in 2021 and forever. I have a little slideshow that I've put together that includes our census data from last year. And some other resources that I want to let you guys know about. So I'll start off with the 2020 census and the data analysis that we did last year. We do this every year, and you can find that on our website. Our website is wvfarmers.org. If you go to, I think it's Get Involved and drop down to Census, there are previous census from every year back to, I think we have the earliest one is 2012 that we've done, but the earliest one online is 2014. We also have this year 9 farmers markets that are participating currently in the Localized Information Exchange Program, where we are training farmers market managers to become resource providers for their producers. That program goes until the end of this year, and we're looking for 2 farmers market managers to join that program and join the peer network of the 9 current members. we're also seeking farmers markets to help us build a resiliency program to better understand the needs of farmers markets at the ground level as it relates to recovery and resilience from the global pandemic, COVID-19. And then I'm going to talk about the current member services that we have, some of the toolkits that we have available on our website, and what you can expect in the coming months and years from the Farmers Market Association. So like I mentioned before, in 2020, we did a census of all the farmers markets in the state, and there were 220 known farmers markets in the state of West Virginia last year, which is close to double the number of farmers markets that we saw in 2019. 62 of those were members of the association, and we had 57 farmers markets participate in our census for a 25.91% completion rate. And that's pretty good for, we usually have around that number every year complete the census. The total sales for 2020 reported by the 57 farmers markets was over $17 million, and we estimate that there could be potentially between 12 million and 49 million that were not reported sales last year. And all of that money is going back into the local economy. So we had between $29 and $70 million in sales, $60 million in sales. So $17 million is a big number that's going back to our communities and our farmers and the producers in our state to keep us going and resilient through the pandemic. Some producer vendor facts that we gleaned from the census. It was estimated that each producer traveled about 20 miles one way to sell at a farmer's market, and they earned approximately $46.15 per day. For the entire season, which is usually about 20 weeks, a typical farmer's market producer paid $88.50 in setup and membership fees alone. So in comparison to last year, farmers market vendors were making almost double what they made last year, which is pretty good. Still, that number is not where we want it to be. We want producers to be able to make more than minimum wage for an 8-hour day, but it's in the right direction. We're building on it, and I'm glad to see that producers are getting a little bit more for their effort. Last year, our findings also indicated that customers spent about $14.74 per visit, and there were about 19,533 people that visited a farmer's market each week between June and October last year. If you want to learn more about the farmers market censuses that we've done over the years, you can go to our website, wvfarmers.org/get-involved/statewide farmers market census. The Localized Information Exchange Program is the next program that I want to talk about. And like I mentioned before, we do have 2 openings for this program, so please keep that in mind as I go into some of the things that our current markets have accomplished by being a part of this program. And what you might be able to do as a part of this program. So the objective of this was to support 10 farmers market managers to become service providers and empower farmers markets to be information hubs for their producers, looking at what farmers markets need or how they are positioned as in this really unique place of being able to funnel in information to their producers. We saw their position as an opportunity to get much needed resources to producers to address barriers in their farm businesses. Within this program, we have a group of 9 farmers market managers that are currently participating. that engage in monthly peer discussions about common and uncommon issues that affect producers. During the market season, they are tasked with collecting and reporting producer sales and customer transaction data monthly throughout the market season. They're given one-on-one coaching with myself and other Farmers Market Association board members, and they're also provided with connections with the Process Aggregation and Distribution Network, which is a statewide network of service providers. We also provide educational and training opportunities for managers and producers and work with them on the ground to make sure that they have everything that they need as market managers to provide those educational opportunities and training for their producers. These are the current 9 markets that are participating. You can see with the map here that they're pretty spread out across the state. We have Warwood Farmers Market, Highlands Farmers Market, Buchanan Upshur Farmers Market, Lincoln County Farmers Market, White Sulphur Springs Farmers Market, Pendleton County Farmers Market, Charlestown Farmers Market, Berkeley Springs Farmers Market, and Arnettsville Farmers Market. Last year, their sales, this is a chart of their sales data, the average customer count versus the average vendor take home. You can see that I've taken out the names of the markets for their security, but or for their benefit. But you can see that the average customer sales, the average customer spending was pretty consistent, but the number of customers was really what made the average vendor sales go up and fluctuate so much. And here's an annual percent change between the individual customer spending and the average vendor take home. Last year, the average customer spending at these 9 markets was $9.38, which was a little bit below the average for what we found in the census data, but the average vendor take home was much higher. This was per week sales. And we also saw that the annual change between the 2019 census data and the data that was reported and recorded for this project, most markets that were participating in this program saw a pretty dramatic increase in their customer spending and vendor sales or vendor take home. So this year we are participating in a program called Resilience in Farmers Markets, thanks to Claude Worthington Benedum Foundation. This program offers a lot of different types of resources for farmers markets to come out on top after the effects of the COVID-19 global pandemic. The kind of resources that we have available are some of the things that we saw that were much needed over the course of last year. We have some funding to provide technology to explore new communications methods and e-commerce platforms for farmers markets. This fund may also be used to do promotional and advertising that may not have been able to be explored previously. We also have small stipends for farmers market managers in farmers markets who assist us in the development of a rapid market assessment, which will be used to help the Farmers Market Association and our partners better understand the farmers market needs at the ground level and help farmers markets build better businesses for themselves and their communities. We also have some mini grants to support sanitation supplies and protocol, specifically for wash stations at farmers markets. The 2021 member services are, we have a few things that are available right now for all of our members and for anyone who's not a member. We have our one-stop shop application. This is for members only upon renewal. You can now register with the USDA, the WVDA and Farm Fresh WV in one application available and live on the West Virginia Farmers Market Association website. We have some virtual marketing tools available. Upon your request, your events, stories, jobs, and news can be shared through the Farmers Market Association social media and in our monthly newsletter, and all members are listed on our website. We have toolkits and one-on-one coaching available. Everyone has access to the toolkits, but you can also schedule one-on-one sessions with myself and any of our board members anytime that we have available. We have some toolkits available online, and these are free for everyone. If you head over to our website and check out the resource library, you'll see these along with others that are available right now. We have the Farmers Market Planning Toolkit, which is a 3-part toolkit that includes marketing, financial management, and vendor recruitment. We also have a bonus slideshow included on our website that is So You Want to Start a Farmers Market, which is a step-by-step guide that tells you exactly what you need to do if you want to start a farmers market and have a successful farmers market in West Virginia. We also have other available resources. On our website, we have the Virginia Farmers Market Association's SNAP and EBT toolkit. We also have some SNAP and EBT printable promotional materials that are available now. We have a Power of Produce Pop Club toolkit, which is for youth 5 to 12. This toolkit includes activities, a passport for produce, and some other instructions on how to get this kids youth club started at your farmers market. We also have a partnership with Dyer Insurance Group for liability insurance for farmers markets and vendors, and that is available. There is more information on our website, or you can contact me with the information at the end of this slide. At the end of this slideshow. And available upon request, we have a data collection and record keeping toolkit and printable marketing materials that are customized digitally or printable for your market. These things are available upon request because they are catered to the needs of your market, and that doesn't necessarily mean that it's all going to be the same. So definitely feel free to jot down my email. It's coordinator@wvfarmers.org, and let me know if you're interested in any of these or if you are not able to find any of these on our website for some reason. Coming soon, we have a few items that will be available on our website and in other we'll share it online everywhere, let everybody know what we've got going on. But we're looking to expand our marketing services to include labeling, marketing, and branding services for a nominal fee to cover the supplies costs. We're relocating one of our 2 poultry processing units to Gaiser to expand the amount of producers that are able to use that so that we don't just have a concentration of both poultry units in one location. We have a microprocessing pilot program with house recipes in 5 farmers markets across the state. That is a partnership with WVU Community for Resilient Communities. Center for Resilient Communities. And we have some healthy food initiatives that include pharmacy with Pharmacy West Virginia and some other farmers markets across the state. And we're also working on some producer-focused workshops and training events with the localized information exchange markets, as well as some other partners and organizations across the state. And I would love to know what else you'd like to see from the association in the future. So once again, I'm Erica Gallimore, the project coordinator for the West Virginia Farmers Market Association. And you can get in touch with me at erica@wvfarmers.org or coordinator@wvfarmers.org. And you can call and leave a message at the first number, or you can call me directly at 304-202-6618. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Erica. That was so much information, and I'm always amazed by how many services the association offers. And anyone listening, I strongly encourage you to become a member. You will get your money back in services very, very quickly. Does anybody have any questions for Erica? If you don't want to say them out loud, you can put them in the chat.
I may be able to come up with one to put in the chat box, guys, but like you said, I'm just amazed by everything that you have to offer. And I was going to ask a question and then you answered it because the resources are already there. So just appreciate the great work you're doing and your board. So really appreciate it, Erica.
Anyone else? If not, we're going to move on to Stacy. You can take it away. Thank you, Erica.
Hi, I'm Stacy. I'm with the Farmers Market Coordinator for the Department of Agriculture, and I'm going to talk today a little bit about who needs a farmers market permit, how to get one, and who needs a vendor permit and how to obtain that. First of all, what is a farmers market? It's when two or more people gather together to sell food products, and you can be traditional, you can be online, you can be a consignment, or you can be on your farm. You can be a farm stand beside the road, or you could be a mobile farmer market where you have the little mobile buildings. You can be a market within a fair, or anything the commissioner approves as a farmer's market. And how do you register? There's two ways. You can call in 304-558-2227 and ask for a farmer's market application, and we can email it to you or mail it. Or you can go online and print it off, or you can save it and email it back. And once I receive it, I'll process your registration and send you the permit. Once you receive your permit, though, make sure you display that at your market. And we also have what's called the vendor permit. And not every vendor requires the vendor permit. Only vendors who sell potentially hazardous products like salsa and sauces, and fermented products, canned acidified fruits and vegetables, and pickled products. For these, you also need a process authority, and we have several places that you can send off to get your products tested. And you can find those in our Farmers Market Vendor Guide, or you can call us and we will send you a list of them. We also need one if you have meat, poultry, dairy, or time and temperature products. For your meat, we will need a copy of your meat distribution permit. And then every year, you'll fill out a registration and you'll send in your $35 fee. And for the processed, the canned items, you will need a copy of a certificate of training, like a food handlers or just any type of WVDA approved trainings. We can call us and we can give you a list of those. And when you have a label review committee, and you'll send those to the label review. And the number for that is 304-558-2210. But the phone number and everything is in our vendor guide. And you'll need the process authority. And the vendor registration works the same way. You just fill out the application, send in the fee, and once I receive it and all of the documentation, then we'll send you the permit, and just make sure you display that at your station. And non-potentially hazardous foods, they do not require any type of permit. They just have to be properly labeled and properly displayed and packaged. And that can be your jams and jellies that's made of berries and fruit, honey as long as nothing's added to it, eggs, baked goods, apples, fruit butter, molasses, anything that is not potentially hazardous. And you do not require a vendor permit for honey unless you add anything to it. If you add nuts or cocoa or anything, then it becomes potentially hazardous and you have to have a vendor permit. You just need to make sure that your bees are registered with the Department of Agriculture. Any questions so far? For the training, you can go for Safe Serve Food Handlers course, or you can do the Good Manufacturing courses. Those are usually offered at the Winter Blues. Process Authority, you send off about 2 products, and the one people use most often is Virginia Tech, but North Carolina does it. There's about 5 other ones. Georgia, Nebraska, Penn State, and Clemson, they also do it. I'm not sure about their prices, however. The label review is done by Leslie Bogus and Lacey Davidson with the Department of Agriculture. Your label requirements, you have to have your name, your home address. We don't actually have to have like your house number and street address because we don't want anybody showing up at your home. But they do have to have a way to get a hold of you. You have to have the telephone number, the common or usual name of the item, like apple butter has to be on there, and then ingredients in descending order of predominance. For your baked goods, and I'm seeing a lot of baked goods out right now. I'm basically looking for, when I go to the farmers markets, is to make sure that they're properly labeled and that you don't have any time and temperature products being sold as cottage food. So if it's got meringue or custard or cream pies, cheesecakes, the donuts that have the cream cheese fillings, all of those are potentially hazardous, and they do require a time and temperature controlled vendor permit. And once you get that vendor permit, that does subject you to a kitchen inspection. We do have dairy, and it has to be prepackaged, and it has to be grade A, and the products have to be kept at 41 degrees or lower. Fish, we've never had fish at the farmers markets before, but I have 2 this year, and we're going to be making sure that they're being kept at 41 degrees or lower. Your annual scale certification, and the fish must be gutted at a pre-approved facility, and your labels must be provided for the product that include the common name and weight of the product. Potentially hazardous fruits and vegetables. You can sell fresh uncut produce all day long, but once you cut it, it becomes potentially hazardous. And microgreens are permitted to be sold, sprouts are not, and wild mushrooms are not permitted to be sold. Non-standard jams and jellies and vegetable butters. I'm seeing like a lot of, right now, pectin and lavender. I think lavender and dandelions are the most, or what's really popular right at the moment. If you put any of that in there, if you put jalapenos in your jelly, or if you make it sugar-free, that changes the pH, so therefore that requires it to be potentially hazardous, so you have to have your vendor permit, and you also have to have the process authority completed. You can do apple butter, but you cannot do pumpkin butter, and you can do apple butter as long as it's not sugar-free. If it's sugar-free, then it becomes potentially hazardous, and you have to go and do the all the process authority, label review, and all of that. For your meats, you need to have a meat distribution permit from Quentin and his group. And when I'm coming around, I'll be looking to make sure that you have the USDA or the WVDA inspection labels. And I'll be making sure that your meat is 41 degrees or colder. We do have online markets, and those are inspected at their holding facilities. So if you have an online market, we will be inspecting you, but it'll be at where you hold your products. And we are allowing sampling right now, but with COVID restrictions, We ask that the samples come in pre-packaged and sealed before coming to the market. The vendor must wear gloves and a mask when offering the samples, and trash cans have to be available. And whether it's COVID or just any other day, you have to have a canopy over your products and a hand washing station. We're also asking that you limit your handling of the produce. If someone wants to see a tomato, maybe you can pick it up and show it to them, or make sure you wear gloves. We just really don't want everybody touching all the tomatoes or other products. And a lot of the question we get is people think that they have a commercial kitchen when actually they have a community kitchen. And what the difference is a commercial kitchen, the health department actually comes in and inspects what you're doing and inspects the kitchen. In a community kitchen, you have the commercial equipment, but it's not inspected by the health department. So a lot of times people tell me, oh, I've got a commercial kitchen, and they truly believe that they do, but actually it's just a community kitchen because they're not being inspected. And if you have the commercial kitchen, then you don't have to have the process authority. And that's causing a lot of people confusion. And how do we conduct a vendor inspection? We'll come up to the vendors and we'll ask to see your vendor permit. And we'll also ask to see any type of certification you have from your WVDA training courses. We'll be checking to make sure your products are properly stored, and if you need cooled, that their temperature are being held at the correct temperature, and that you have the correct labeling. And you need proper signage for your produce. It doesn't have to be humongous, and it doesn't have to be the produce signs that we hand out. It just has to tell the name of the product and where the product was grown. That way, if there is a foodborne illness, we can trace it back. And then when we come to the market, we don't only inspect the market, the vendors, but we also inspect the market. And we'll be looking to see if the market manager has had the proper training. Does he have a food establishment permit? Does he have the market registered? And is the permit displayed where we can see it? We'll be looking to see if he has a list of his vendors. So if someone calls and says, do they bought tomatoes by a certain vendor, then he can verify and be able to trace it back as to where it came from. You're required to keep you're required to keep your vendor permit. Your vendor inspections. The farmers market manager has to keep those, and you need to follow up every 2 weeks to make sure that whatever we came and inspected of your vendors, that it was corrected, because we will be back in 2 weeks also. So do I have any questions?
I don't think I have a question. I thought of one addition for meats. And if anyone listening, we also have our exempt chicken. So that would be a label that you would also be looking for, correct?
Exempt chicken and rabbit.
And rabbit. Good. That was another example. So those are two additional things that someone could consider selling at a farmer's market that won't have that USDA or state label, but you will have to follow our required labeling to sell those, and you'll still need that vendor permit.
Right.
I was trying to think. I had one question about the samples. So they can bring them in and pre-packed and everything like that. Do those samples, let's say, I'm trying to ask this the correct way. Let's say a produce seller sells tomatoes, but they want to give a sample of them and they have them pre-packed. Do they need to do anything, or is if their farmer's market manager has taken a food handler's class, is that okay? Like, what makes it okay for someone to be allowed to do samples?
They can be allowed to do the sample, but if they're going to cut it, if they're going to cut the tomato and bring it in, then they're going to have a vendor permit.
There you go. Okay.
To open them up for a kitchen inspection.
So only samples someone could do at the market was either like whole produce, or it would be like a cottage food, a non-potentially hazardous food, correct?
Right. Well, you can't really sample a whole
Yeah, that's true.
whole
Okay.
produce because you can't. If you give something whole, it's not a sample any longer.
Okay. There, that's a good example for everyone. Anyone else have questions?
Stacey,
Honestly,
I think sorry. I have a question. More so, I think you've already answered it, but I kind of just want to ask it on behalf of any producers that might be watching this later. So, one that I frequently get is people that are just getting started making non-potentially hazardous foods in a cottage kitchen. They're still unsure if they need a food establishment permit or need to work with the DHHR or anything. So as long as they are making cottage foods, they just go directly
permit
to the
needed.
Department of Ag, right? Yeah.
Well, no, they don't have to go to the Department of Ag. Non-potentially hazardous, they don't have to do anything.
Okay. Yeah.
They just have to make sure that it's labeled and packaged properly.
Good deal.
And some health departments were asking for a cottage food permit, but that really doesn't exist.
We also had a question in the chat box. What about sampling liquids, drinks, and coffee?
As of right now, we just ask that you bring all of the samples in and prepackaged. So if you can keep it warm in that prepackaged container, then that's fine. But and it's also I've also been told if the health department of that county allows it to be served there, then we accept that the health department's rule.
Okay. We have a question from Lisa. It says, who offers cottage food training required by the WVDA? Cottage food doesn't require any trainings. Are you talking potentially hazardous foods, Lisa? Okay, maybe we'll come back to that one. So I am correct, Stacey, right? Oh, any kind of cottage food training.
I'm not aware of any cottage food training at this time.
I offered a class at the Small Farms Conference. I did one last week for WVU Marketing, and I am doing the cottage food training for the WVU Extension Training Series. I'm going to have to look what day. Lisa, I think you have those dates. I'm doing value-added foods, and I'm going to cover kind of like what Stacey talked about. I'm going to talk about non-potentially hazardous foods, and then those potentially hazardous foods for farmers markets.
I asked Beth, she's supposed to be getting me a list of your all's classes so that I'll have them in the future, but she had to nail down some dates first.
Okay. I think the one in early May, I think on May 4th, I think it is. I think that's the next cottage food training that's on the books. Okay. And we'll get that information.
Hey, Stacey, it's Beth. I just actually popped on too.
Hey.
Yeah, I think we were trying to nail down better process control school dates, which we have now. So I will share those with you for sure, but that's not cottage foods.
Oh, okay, great. Oh, that's good. And then we missed one up there. Nathan had a question. How does someone go about starting to get their commercial kitchen inspected?
They need to contact their health department, their local health department.
Okay. And Dane had also asked in the chat box, and I thought this was a great answer from Erica. He asked about, was there any kind of help with pricing products at farmers markets? And Erica said that she offers one-on-one coaching, including pricing, but she's also working with WVU Extension Small Farm Center to create a list of product pricing and comparing them throughout the regions. Because honestly, prices really, really differ from market to market and region to region. So that is yet another resource offered by the Farmers Market Association. Does anyone else have any additional questions?
I guess I am kind of curious. I want to go ahead and ask the question. So this is for Stacey. So does labeling change for the dairy exemption if you're going to sell it a farmer's market using the new dairy exemption?
I am not sure about the dairy. I haven't heard about the new dairy exemption. Does the labeling change with the new dairy exemption? I can get you an answer from Rachel, though.
You can share that.
Yeah, I think, yeah, that'd be great. I'm just kind of curious. I think it's maybe still probably under development or review there, but yeah, just kind of curious.
I don't know. Truthfully, don't know about that.
Yeah, I don't know. You can find out for you.
I can let Kacey know.
All right. Thank you, Stacey. That was so much good information. Does anybody else have any other questions before we wrap up this evening? If not, this will be up on our YouTube channel in just a day or two, and we really appreciate you joining us this evening. And you can go out and enjoy that last little bit of warm weather. Thank you, everyone.